The sound of rain hitting the car roof creates a rhythmic drumming as a solitary vehicle cruises down an empty, winding road. The headlights barely cut through the mist, which has swallowed the landscape. The driver, a man in his mid-30s, looks nervously out the window, his face tense. The car's engine hums, but there's an eerie quiet beyond it. No other vehicles, no sign of life. Suddenly, through the haze, a figure appears on the side of the road. The man squints, uncertain if it's a trick of the rain. It's a young woman, drenched, her clothes clinging to her hair matted to her face. She raises her hand slowly, asking for a ride. Her eyes, though tired, are full of desperation. The man's hands tighten on the steering wheel as he slows down. He looks at the woman in the rearview mirror, unsure whether to stop or keep driving. He's heard the stories about hitchhikers, the warnings. But something about this woman seems different. Or maybe it's the loneliness of the road that pushes him to act. He stops. She opens the door with a creak and slips into the passenger seat. The car smells of wet earth and dampness. As she settles in, she mutters a quick, barely audible, "Thank you." The man says nothing. He's not sure if it's the quiet or the feeling of unease that fills the car, but he can't shake the sensation that something isn't right. The car moves along the road, the only sound being the rain against the windows and the tires on the wet asphalt. The man glances at the woman occasionally, but she stares ahead, her face turned away from him. The silence between them grows thick, almost suffocating. A strange chill fills the air. The man breaks the silence, asking if she's okay. She responds in a low, almost distant voice, "I'm fine." He wonders if she's lost, but doesn't want to pry. Instead, he glances at the road again, unsure of how much further he has to go. The night feels colder now, even though the heater hums softly in the background. They reach a fork in the road, and the woman suddenly speaks up. "Stop here!" The man looks at her, confused. "This is my stop." He slows the car and she opens the door. As she steps out, she looks back at him, her expression unreadable. Without a word, she turns and walks into the mist, disappearing into the rain. The man watches her disappear into the rain, his heart pounding. He's unsure why he feels so uneasy. He shakes his head and mutters to himself, "What just happened?" He watches the road for a moment before pulling away, thinking the night's strange encounter is over. As he drives away, the man feels a strange sensation at the back of his mind. He glances at the seat where the woman had been sitting. There, on the leather seat, is a wet, folded piece of paper. He frowns. He doesn't remember her leaving it behind. The man unfolds the paper with trembling fingers. Written in elegant but old-fashioned handwriting, the note reads, "I'm sorry, I couldn't wait for you." His mind races. He had only spoken to her for a few minutes, yet this note, it feels like it has been there longer. A chilling thought strikes him. The place she said she was going, the address, he recognizes it. It's an old house abandoned for years. He never thought much about it until now. What if she had been dead all along? A wave of coldness sweeps over him as he recalls an old news story. A woman had died in a car accident on this very stretch of road years ago. She had been traveling alone on a rainy night, just like tonight. The man's heart races as the pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place. Desperate for answers, he turns around and heads back toward the spot where he had picked her up. The rain continues to pour, making the road treacherous. He feels an overwhelming compulsion to know the truth, to find out if she's really gone, or if she's still waiting for him. He arrives back at the spot, the rain now coming down in sheets. There's no sign of the woman. He's alone, but the sense of being watched gnaws at him. As he looks around, he swears he hears the faint sound of footsteps in the distance, echoing in the rain-soaked night. The man gets out of the car and walks toward the spot where she had vanished. There, lying on the ground, is something more chilling than any ghost. It's her coat, still wet, still warm to the touch. His breath catches in his throat. The woman was never real. Or perhaps she was never meant to be.